Carbohydrates are often viewed as a harmless or even necessary source of daily energy, but their impact on health becomes far more complex and concerning when consumed in excess or in the wrong forms. One of the most underappreciated consequences of a high carbohydrate diet, especially one rich in refined starches and sugars, is its potential to increase inflammation in the body. While inflammation is a natural and necessary response to injury or infection, chronic low-grade inflammation is a different story. This type of persistent, systemic inflammation is a key driver behind numerous modern health problems, including arthritis, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, acne, and even certain neurodegenerative conditions. Unfortunately, diets heavy in processed carbs quietly feed this inflammatory fire in ways that are often overlooked until real damage begins to surface. Refined carbohydrates like white bread, pasta, pastries, and sugary snacks are digested quickly, causing rapid spikes in blood glucose. These frequent surges prompt the body to produce large amounts of insulin, a hormone essential for glucose uptake, but also involved in fat storage and inflammatory signaling. Over time, repeated glucose spikes and the corresponding insulin bursts can lead to insulin resistance, a condition that fuels the body's inflammatory machinery. This is especially problematic because insulin-resistant tissues, particularly in the liver and fat cells, begin to release pro-inflammatory compounds like interleukin-6, IL-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNFA, both of which are strongly linked to chronic disease development. But the problem doesn't stop there. Refined starches also have a high glycemic index, meaning they rapidly raise blood sugar levels without delivering fiber, antioxidants, or phytonutrients to counterbalance the metabolic stress. This glycemic overload triggers oxidative stress, a process where harmful free radicals build up faster than the body can neutralize them. Oxidative stress itself is a major promoter of inflammation, causing damage to cells, tissues, and blood vessels, and further perpetuating the inflammatory cycle. Over time, this wear and tear can accelerate aging and contribute to the gradual breakdown of joint cartilage, skin structure, and vascular function. For people with existing inflammatory conditions such as arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, or even acne, a high-carb diet can act like gasoline on a smoldering fire. Elevated blood sugar promotes the release of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, compounds formed when sugar molecules bind to proteins or fats. AGEs are particularly damaging to collagen and joint tissue and are known to increase stiffness and pain in those with arthritis or joint degeneration. In acne-prone individuals, high insulin levels caused by refined carbs can increase oil production, hormonal fluctuations, and skin cell turnover, all of which contribute to blocked pores and more frequent breakouts. Though many people look to topical solutions, the root cause may often be found on their plate. The gut, too, does not escape the inflammatory consequences of excessive carbohydrates. Diets high in refined starches feed pathogenic gut bacteria and yeast, such as Candida albicans, allowing them to proliferate and disrupt the microbiome. An imbalanced microbiome weakens the intestinal barrier and increases the likelihood of leaky gut syndrome, where harmful substances pass into the bloodstream and provoke an immune response. This immune activation further promotes inflammation throughout the body and may trigger or worsen autoimmune conditions like psoriasis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, or rheumatoid arthritis. What begins as a dietary pattern full of seemingly harmless staples, sandwiches, noodles, breakfast cereals, can end up creating chronic immune dysregulation with far-reaching consequences. What makes the inflammatory nature of refined carbohydrates so difficult to manage is how subtle and cumulative their effects can be. Few people connect their daily fatigue, joint stiffness, skin breakouts, or even brain fog to the bread they eat with lunch or the sugary drinks they sip in the afternoon. Inflammation does not always manifest as pain or swelling. Sometimes it appears as gradual, low-level dysfunction in multiple systems. And by the time symptoms become severe enough to diagnose a disease, the inflammatory process has often been ongoing for years, silently damaging tissues and organs. Even more troubling is that many low-fat or diet foods marketed as healthy alternatives are loaded with refined carbohydrates to enhance flavor and texture. This leaves consumers with the illusion of making healthier choices, while in reality, they may be increasing their risk of inflammation, weight gain, and chronic disease. The over-reliance on carbohydrate-heavy meals, especially those lacking in fiber, healthy fats, and antioxidants, robs the body of the balance it needs to keep inflammatory processes under control. Reducing inflammation means more than just eliminating obviously harmful foods. It requires understanding how everyday staples might be contributing to systemic stress. Whole foods like vegetables, legumes, nuts, and healthy fats work to counter inflammation, while a diet centered on refined starches gradually erodes the body's resilience. It's not just sugar that's to blame. It's the refined, nutrient-poor carbohydrates that behave like sugar in the bloodstream and push the immune system into a state of chronic activation. This connection between carbohydrates and inflammation is not just theoretical, it's visible in blood tests, disease trends, and individual experiences. Ignoring it only allows the damage to deepen.